If you're interested in attending Catholic worship, come consider the 10 o'clock a.m. Mass at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located just 4 blocks up from Soldiers Field Road at 43 Holton Street. You can check out our website at stanthonyalston.org. That's saintanthonyalston.org. And come to the 10 o'clock Mass and experience our chanted Liturgy of the Eucharist every Sunday. Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified in all that we do as we continue through this week and end the work week. Let us be filled with your Spirit as we work our way into this weekend, that we may be seeking to be your witnesses and be the salt of the earth you call us to be. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, it is Friday, and we are looking at the gospel today, which is Matthew 5, so 27 to 32. So we are continuing through the Sermon of the Mount. However, one of the words we're looking at is this passage here. This is one of those passages that I wish wasn't in there. Not so much I don't like what Jesus said, but this is the passage where he says, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. I wish he didn't say that. Only because there are people, I'm not saying I've literally seen people do that, but they get all panicked over this, and there is no reason to do so. First of all, he's using hyperbole. And I remember, true story, of course, all my stories are true, but I remember when I was returning to the church, I was in the Philippines at the time, and I remember, as thinking to come back to the church, and I said, well, I'm not, I know this is stupid today looking back, but that's the way I was thinking about that. I'm not cutting off my arm or my right eye or nothing for nobody. Well, good. And when I finally decided to go back to church, this gospel was the gospel, and the priest preached on it, what it really meant. And he says, if we were to take this seriously, pretty much everyone I know would have no eyes or feet or hands. And I always remember that line. It doesn't mean to be taken seriously. What it means, this is Jesus speaking hyperbolically. He's using this example extreme to give us an idea of how seriously we should take these things, but not calling us to literally do this. Now, there's another passage in here that is very confusing, and that's where he says that anyone who looks at a woman, the way it's translated, and this is the New Revised Standard Version, the Catholic edition. If you look at a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart. Well, the thing is, some people get confused by that. And they'll say, well, they see a woman who is attractive, that means they did the wrong thing. And they try not to look at anybody, and the same applies for men, who they find attractive and get, and notice this. That's not what he's talking about at all. Because he says, in this translation, he says with lust. Well, let's go back to the original translations. And again, I'm not going to be focusing on the Greek this time. I'm going to focus on what St. Clements translated the Greek into the Latin. Because as you know, I don't speak Greek. I'm not going to do that line. I'm not going to say it, so I won't. So, all right. What is it? I'm not going to say. It's all Greek to me. So, but what I am going to say is I found St. Clements did excellent translations. Well, what's the word he used? Concupiscence, which specifically is dealing with acting sinfully. So, you find a person of the opposite sex attractive, but you're not looking at them in the position where you're planning to commit sin with them. That's concupiscence. concupiscence. Sorry for my mispronunciation. That's what he's talking about. Father Tom DiLorenzo, who you also hear on this radio station, and I told you he's been doing radio longer than I've been a priest, and I've been a priest for 31 years. A lot longer than I've been a priest, because I used to go to his prayer meetings when I came out of the Navy and before I ended up in the seminary. So that shows you how long, and he was doing radio a long time then. So what would he say? And he put it really well. He says, I know people who, at the time, this is back in the 80s, I know people who work in the Treasury building. And I forget exactly how he put it, but it basically said, there's no problem with looking at the money and thinking of what it would be like to have that kind of money. He says, the problem comes when you plan to take the money from the Treasury. He says that's where it's a problem. And that's the best way to think of what this means, because a lot of people get confused by that. And especially, they're walking down the street, they find a woman very attractive, and they'll go, I committed this. No, you didn't commit any sin. There is nothing wrong with that. Looking at someone from the opposite, looking at someone that you find attractive. It's not the way it works. We're going to talk more on the other side of the break. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WEZE. We'll be right back right after this. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back. So we look at this passage where Jesus is talking about avoid those things that lead you into sin. That's what he's talking about. And it doesn't mean, you have to go live in a cave, because that's clearly not what we're called to do. And that would be the man who we'll talk about later, who buries his talents. No, we're not called to live like that. We're called to understand that we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we are where we are open to committing sin. And that's what we're talking about. It is perfectly okay to be in a situation where we're not going to commit sin, but not in a position where we are planning to commit sin. I think one of the things that pops into my mind just now as I'm telling this is one of the greatest stories ever written, and by Ray Bradbury. It was required reading in California at one time, and other school systems, and it's Something Wicked This Way Comes. And it's all about these people who lived for what they desired in life, and that's what it was all about, and their desires imprisoned them. And that's basically where Jesus is going. So if you don't want to walk down this prison, be careful. Walk down into this prison, be careful that you don't do that. And that's what he's talking about. So the rule is with concupiscence. Don't be focused on being open to committing sin. Maybe another thing to pop into my mind, I know this is going to sound really off the wall, but I'll say it anyway. Do you know that if you were to go swimming in the Amazon, which I've never done, and there are piranha there, the piranha will attack you, and that's the end. It's done. But there are people that swim among the piranha. Well, how do they swim among the piranha? The piranha, if they're not hungry, they'll never touch you. And that's one of the things they understand. If they're not hungry, they'll never touch you. And so it's understanding that difference. Well, you can do anything you want, providing you understand what you're doing. As St. Augustine said, love and do what you want, and don't put yourself into the path of sin. So, for example, maybe a good example would be, I very rarely drink. I'll have a beer once in a while. I'm Catholic. We're allowed to drink alcoholic beverages very rarely. And you know why is because, besides the reason why, but one of the reasons I very rarely drink is I have developed the taste for non-alcoholic beer, depending on the brand. And I prefer non-alcoholic beer. My current beer that I actually love drinking is Heineken 00. And, there's another brand out there I'm not a big fan of. And people, we got this new beer. Yeah, I know. I've seen it in other places. I don't like it. To me, it tastes like water. I'm not going to say the name of the brand. So, can I go to a bar anytime I want? Can I have, as Catholic, can I have a beer? Sure, I can. It doesn't matter. The sin comes in when you're getting drunk, so to speak. So I'd want to be careful what I drink. But I love non-alcoholic beer, and I go to the bars and they say, do you have? Well, I'm not. They don't advertise. Do you have Heineken 00? Yes, we do. Well, you just made my day. You just became my best friend because I'm gonna stay here, because and so I may be in a place that could be tempting to someone who has a drinking problem, and I did it one time, but I don't anymore. That doesn't mean I'm an alcoholic, because an alcoholic would not be able to do that. And I can drink non-alcoholic beer, and I do enjoy it. I can drink a regular beer once in a great while, and I'll enjoy that. But I really love non-alcoholic beer. So I'm in the position in a bar, and then people, and they say, well, are you opening yourself up to sin? No, because I have no desire to have a whole bunch of beers. I prefer non-alcoholic beer. So none of this affects me. And actually, I'm here to socialize, so I'll socialize or whatever, the whole bit. So you just see what I'm saying. So it's not that looking upon a person of the opposite sex is a sin. It's acting in concupiscence, planning to or seeking, hey, this would be a great idea if we followed this path. That's where it becomes a sin. We'll talk more on Monday. Have yourself a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. Remember, when you're looking for a place to attend Mass, and if you don't already attend Mass at your local parish, come to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located at 43 Holton Street in Allston, just a few blocks up from Soldiers Field Road. And you can check us out, come to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass, and come to experience our Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.